you're here for the ribbon cutting, we're going to do it on that side of the clock where it's quieter. We're going to start. You might want to come in closer just because it's noisy.
So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Pulaski Park, the plaza here in Pulaski Park, for the rededication of this gorgeous and historically restored Seth Thomas clock. I'm Mayor Narkewicz. I'm just going to start with reading an article, which I think is sort of apropos. Well, it won't surprise you, I guess. I'll put it that way. It's dated June 9th, 1910. City items. Mayor Coolidge today signed the permit for the erection of a street clock, which the aldermen voted, Harry Daniels, last Thursday, and the long controversy is now at an end. That doesn't sound like Northampton, does it? It goes on to say, oh yeah, wait, and the long controversy is now at an end, with neither side defeated and neither surrendered. Mr. Daniel has ordered the clock shipped here and expects to have it up devoid of advertising within a short time. So it turns out that in April of 1910, he came to the city, filed a permit with the Board of Aldermen that needed to be approved by the Board of Aldermen, which is what we called our council then, and then eventually signed by the mayor. And like all things Northampton, downtown, controversy ensued. There was great concern of what the clock would look like and whether it would be properly wound and it would actually keep time, whether it was going to turn into a big advertising billboard as opposed to a clock. So apparently there's not a lot of detail in between, but apparently there was some mediation that occurred. And so the final order, and I have actually from the city clerk, from the dusty records of the Board of Aldermen, the petition to erect a street clock on Main Street has been granted, and it basically says to Harry Daniel to erect the Seth Thomas street clock. Fast forward, I guess, to the recent times, and our Office of Planning and Sustainability Director Wayne Fiden was looking into, could we get that clock, could we purchase and restore that clock and get it back out on Main Street. He, in fact, worked to locate it and talk to the various owners. There'd even been a controversy about the ownership of the clock, which I won't get into, that even includes some notable people, notable for their involvement in controversy. I won't get into that. But eventually, went to the Historical Commission. We have David Drake, the chair of the Historical Commission there, got their endorsement of the project, went before the Community Preservation Committee seeking a recommendation of $30,000 in funding to both purchase the clock and then have it historically restored and reinstalled on Main Street without any advertising, as you can see. And I want to recognize Brian Adams, who's the chair of the Community Preservation Committee, who approved that recommendation and sent it forward to the City Council. The City Council approved it, and with trembling hand, I signed and approved the order. And there hasn't really been a lot of controversy, so that's good. So the clock has been magnificently restored, and as you can see, it was like still putting on the hand. But I wanted to recognize and introduce, if you would, Peter Nunes, who is the restorer, and have him come forward and maybe tell us a little bit about the clock.
I'm not sure how I'm hoarse.
Yes.
I'm not sure how much I can tell you about the clock. This is the second one I've restored. I have another one waiting to go. I think it was made around 1900, 1905, either Holyoke or Hartford, and ended up in Northampton around 1910 when it was dedicated, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's been a real privilege to work on. I was missing a lot of parts. The two doors were missing, the weight, the drives that were missing, the dials were missing, the bezels were missing. The bezels are the big gold parts that go around the dials. A lot of reproduction parts, even the top, which is very much like the one that was there originally. There's a picture of that on the plaque on the door. Was missing. There was a big, sort of ugly advertising, locally made tin sign on top of it. then I suggest you go right to the Historical Society and not back on the clock, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And as he pointed out, there is a photograph on the back side of the clock, which shows the day that Mayor Calvin Coolidge in 1910 originally dedicated the clock. I was not able to find a copy of the speech. They're still searching, but as you know, he was a man of very few words, so I don't know if there will be a speech anywhere. But it is my great honor as the 44th Mayor of Northampton to officially rededicate this beautiful Seth Thomas clock on our main street in downtown Northampton. So congratulations.
Here, here. Now, Mayor, who is going to wind?
Well, that's a good question. Who will wind the clock?
So the story is,
Yeah, wait.
there's a teenager who winds the Haydenville clock, and he's very excited to become the Western Massachusetts winder. So he's going to stop by here once a week on his way back from school and stop and wind the clock. And if he doesn't, my office will, so make sure it's round. But Emmett by name will be our clock winder.
Excellent. So that concludes our dedication. I'll just make a little announcement. I issued a press release that we're going to begin on Monday phase 2 of the Pulaski Park renovation. So you'll start to see the construction fences go up on Monday, and the beautiful overlook, which is both an expansion of the park as well as creating greater accessibility and connection to the Roundhouse parking lot and to the rail trail, will begin construction. So lots of exciting stuff, and for those of you who were here last night, it was just amazing watching Star Wars on the lawn. It was a packed house, and so we're just so excited about the park, about the clock, about phase 2, and thank you all for coming to the dedication.